Welcome to episode 48 of Hanging by a Thin Thread. This is a podcast where we talk about all things knitting, spinning, sewing, crochet, weaving, any of the fiber arts. I work on a variety of things. Seems like this summer my focus has been more on crochet, but at any rate, I want to welcome you back. I'm Shelley from Kansas City, and today I always talk about whatever I'm drinking. And today's tea is the tea company Benner green tea, lemon and ginseng. So that's what we're drinking today, lemon and ginseng. Let me taste. Very nice and refreshing. Ooh, I like that. And of course, ginseng is always good for you. So I want to start off today on a happier note than last time. If you wanted to review, if you didn't get a chance to watch episode 47, I was telling about the fact that we lost our beloved dog, Walter. And it was quite a sad time for us, and still is. He lingers in my mind and heart and always will. He put little paw prints on my heart, to quote a cliche, but it's really true. He affected us in our lives in a very deep way, and we'll never ever forget him. But today, on a happier note, I do want to say that as I told you last time, that we always have a dog. We don't like to be missing a dog in our lives. It leaves a big hole in our hearts. So we did go out and search for a small to medium-sized dog was our goal this time. We wanted to do the rescue route again to get a dog either from a shelter or a rescue organization. So we searched really intensely to find a dog, and we did end up getting a dog. She is, her name is Ruby. We named her Ruby. That was a name that Bob picked because he had a dog from his past. It wasn't his own dog, but a friend of his had a dog named Ruby, or he knew of her and liked her. So he just liked that name. He said, if we get a female dog, I'd like it to be called Ruby, and a male dog, Henry. Those were what he had in his head. So we did get Ruby. Now, I'm not going to have her out on the podcast quite yet. I want her to feel comfortable coming out and introducing herself. So I'll put a picture up, though. And Ruby is a mixture of, we did her DNA already and found out that she's a mixture of Chihuahua and Rat Terrier, primarily. And so she's a small little girl. She weighs 10.2 pounds. So we're very happy to have her. And I'll briefly tell you the story, her rescue story, how we got her. Was, as I said, we were searching on the websites for all of the local shelters and rescue groups, and it's a lot harder to find a small to medium-sized dog. They're not as prevalent as the larger dogs. So I was searching hard, and we ran upon a few that we took a look at and decided they weren't a great fit for us. But one day I was searching on the web, on the same website. We had just been to the shelter a couple of days before, and we saw a dog that was not a fit because it was a hunting dog that would require a lot of exercise. But its name was my grandfather's given name, which is not a common name. It's a very unusual name, actually. And so that dog was not for us. But a few days later, I look on the website of the same organization, and I find, and it's the KCCAC is where I got her. It's a local shelter. And I find a dog, which ended up being the dog we picked. But the dog names of the dog on the shelter, they give it a shelter name. Because she was found, she had no microchip, they didn't know her real name, so they give her a shelter name. And that happened to be my grandmother's first name, which is also an unusual name. Well, you know what? Here comes Ruby is looking at me. Maybe she'll come out and say hi. Let me see. Just a minute. You want to come out? Come on if you want. You want to come up and say hi? Okay, I'll let you see her. She wanted to come out. This is Ruby, and she is, like I said, a Chihuahua Rat Terrier mix. But I saw her on the website, and she has my grandmother's first name. And so right away I said, wow, that is really a strange coincidence, especially after we just saw a male dog a couple days before with my grandfather's name. It was very unusual. And then later, when we decided to adopt her and we're going through her paperwork and stuff, I found out that she had actually been found in my old neighborhood, 2 streets down from where I grew up, the very house that I grew up. So I thought that is just too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. So anyway, you may see her here and there, that this is Ruby. We decided to name her Ruby, and then her middle name is my grandmother's name that she had on her shelter name. So she's been really a nice little addition to our family. She's been with us now 4 weeks, and she's picked up on things in our household pretty quickly. She wasn't potty trained when we got her, so that was a challenge at the very beginning, but she took to it pretty quickly. And she's almost perfect now with her potty training. So she's picking that up very fast. I suspect maybe she might have belonged to somebody who was using potty pads or something. So anyway, she's picking up on everything really quickly. And we're extremely happy that she's joined our family, aren't we? Yes, indeed. So the next thing I want to talk about is I have been working, as I was last time I had started, on the Summer Lee Cuff Club. This is the Cuff Club Year 2. And so anyway, I had been working on the August Club. And last time I showed you how I had just finished or was finishing the cable part. It's a twisted cable. It's really pretty. And so what happened was, and then here are 2 other colors that are in it too. These are Knit Pick Stroll. And the colors I selected to go with it were the Horchata, Horchata, which is the Knit Pick Stroll sock yarn. Horchata is almost like a beigey, very, very subtle light pink. And then Grass, this color, is, a brighter green. And then the Pucker is a really fuchsia, bright, hot pink. So those are what I'm going to do to make the flower portion of the sock. Now, what is interesting is I started on this pair. I got all of the cuff finished. And she warns you in the pattern, she tells you that you need to go up a size when you are dealing with color work on a sock. Because if you don't, it's going to be too tight. But did I believe that? Of course I didn't. I went ahead and knit it on a size 2 needle. I did go up sort of a size. I was on a 1.5, then I went to a 2. But it turns out, after finishing the whole cuff and being so proud of how it turned out, and I'll put a picture up. I had finished the whole cuff, but then I tried to get over to my foot, and there is no way that will fit on my foot. It is way too tight. So she was right. You do have to go up a needle size, and in my case, I now have ordered a size 3 needle to see if that will work. I hope that is not too big, but we'll find out, because I'm normally such a loose knitter that I thought there'd be no problem with it. And it turns out, yes, I need to definitely go up a size, because that is really tight when you carry those floats on the back of the sock. So that is something that I definitely will have to, won't be able to get back to doing these socks again until I get the larger needle. And it should be coming. I ordered it a size 3 from Fabulous Yarns. That's a place I just happen to like to get my sock needles. Of course, as you guys probably already know, I use the Flexi Flips needles on all my socks. So that is the story on that. I had to rip out what I accomplished, and my sock progress has been really, really slow. So I had to move here to another spot on the porch because it was getting really sunny there where we were sitting. So now I've moved over here on the other side. But before I stop talking about my socks, oh, here it is, I want to show you, this is the sock yarn that I had to rip out on that cuff that I was mentioning. Don't think I can salvage much of this because it was little strands for the color work. I may recycle this for other purposes, like I do with my extra yarn. But anyway, that's how much I had to rip out. The other thing I want to show you is that when Mom and I went to Marshall's yesterday on a shopping run Saturday morning, she and I love to go to Marshall's and TJ Maxx. And I found these darling shoes. They're a Dolce Vita brand, Dulcevita. I got these for $20. I just thought they were a bargain. And they're so cute. They have all kinds of little cute sneakers right now. And so, or tennis shoes, whatever you call them. These look so similar to the ones that Summer Lee had on one of her patterns this year. I don't know which one it was, but she had literally ones that looked so much like this with the little leopard print. So I'm going to be wearing these with all my Summer Lee socks that I make because I just think they're adorable. The other thing that we got while we were there that I wanted to mention, because I always talk about how I love my Bones coffee, and I'm not sponsored by Bones at all, but I was able to get several kinds, but this is the Maca Maniac. It is one of my favorites. It's macadamia nut and coconut, and I often buy that from Bones. And then the Banana Foster, which is banana rum and vanilla. They're going to be apparently retiring this particular flavor soon. They had it mentioned on their website. They were going to retire it. But this is one of my mom and my favorite of the Bones coffee. So I'm sad they're going to do away with it. But we were able to snare several of the packages of it there at Marshall's. It's been hard to find really good coffee lately at TJ Maxx and Marshall's. And so anyway, I was thrilled. We had a really great day of shopping, and we were able to get those Bones coffee at a discount also. The other thing I want to mention that I've been doing, that I haven't been doing too much lately. I've been really busy, and I don't know exactly what, but between getting the dog and training the dog, you know how that goes when you have a new addition in your life, like a dog or anything like that, a big change in lifestyle. It just takes a lot more time, and so somehow I've been busy with work, so I have not been doing much in the way of crafts. But one thing I got obsessed with this month is our knitting group, our local knitting group that meets every 2 weeks. We wanted to participate this year in knitting or crocheting. A senior center here in town has asked for donations of lapghans to distribute at Christmas to their seniors. And I've been wanting to do more charity projects. Years ago, I did some charity projects when I was in a major knitting guild, but I had gotten away from doing charity projects. And so mostly what I do is for myself because I have such limited time to work on things. But I decided this year I do want to start, this coming year, to do more charity type projects in addition to my regular work for myself and my family. So I decided to participate in this senior lapghan thing, project. And so for that, I get a lot of inspiration on those type of blankets by listening to Juan the Yarn Addict. He does primarily crochet. He started into knitting a little bit himself, but he's really a beginning knitter. His main focus of his podcast is on crochet, and he has a lot of crochet tutorials for both left and right-handed people. So anyway, one thing he does is what he calls coffee and cake, where he takes his leftover acrylic yarn stash and winds them into cakes. And so, and he's talking to you and having a conversation while he's winding these cakes. And then he puts them together by using a magic knot, which ties one yarn to the other, and it's supposed to not come out very easily. There are all kinds of YouTubes of how to make a magic knot. But at any rate, I wanted to start making some of these myself. I have a ball winder, so I thought there's no reason I can't take my old acrylic stash and different acrylic yarns that I purchase and put them together in a unique, cute way. Because one thing the Senior Center said is that they find that the seniors especially love the scrappy blankets, the multicolored. And so that is particularly fun for the seniors. So I decided I want to start using these magic balls and making them on my own. This one here I did purchase from an Etsy seller, and it's called Magic Scrappy Yarn Cakes. And it's, where's my glasses? I think it's KJ Bryan Designs. I can read it. KJ Bryan Designs. She has an Etsy shop, and she makes these yarn cakes using all different kinds of yarn. And she doesn't have, she changes yarn frequently to get these bright, kind of crazy colors. And so this is one I picked out that I really liked as inspiration. I haven't used it yet. But for my senior blanket, I will show you one more thing. These are like the little sections of yarn, the size that she uses for each color change. So I don't know how many yards that is, but you can tell that she changes very frequently. I didn't want to change quite that frequently because that would be a lot of magic knots and a lot of yarn changes. But I did make some, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to grab some right here that I have. Okay, I have several I made. I took 5 or 6 balls, or skeins, not balls, skeins of yarn, and I just wound them into different colors. My primary color scheme is going to be blues and purples and navy. It's hard to see the exact color here with the sun hitting me, but here's another one I made. And these are all made out of different ones I put together. And one more. Getting some sun glare here, so we'll have to wrap this up soon. But I wanted to show you the start of this project. I had originally, again, I had to rip out. I had started doing one that I was going to use a simple V-stitch. Okay, this is the right side. I was going to use a simple V-stitch to make this blanket. I didn't want anything complicated. I wanted something that would go very quickly, because we're supposed to be turning them in, I think, near the end of the end of November, so that they can be distributed. The first one I tried to make was 49 inches across, which is too wide, I think. I want to, ideally for a lapghan, I would like to make these around 38 to 40 inches wide by maybe 50 inches long. That's sort of what I have in mind. With Juan the Yarn Addict, he does his blankets smaller. I think they're 38 by 38. Something like that. He makes them a lot smaller. But I want to make mine somewhere between, 38 to 40 inches in width and about 50 inches in length. So that's what I'm aiming for. Finally, I was able to cast on 106 stitches with this V-stitch. For my crochet tension, that worked out to making a 38-inch across blanket. And maybe if I block it, I might get a couple more inches out in width. But I'm using like a J hook. It ended up working for me for the yarn I'm using. And it's a 4-weight yarn is what I'm using. So anyway, that's my big project I'm working on, and I'm trying to put, a focus on that because I do want to finish it definitely in time to at least do one blanket. I haven't worked on a blanket in so long, and it's just fun, mindless crochet, and that's what I really need right now. There's another blanket that I've been taking a look at. A friend of mine is making. She's going to a little bit more of a complicated stitch pattern than I am, and I may share it in the future if I end up working on that. But it's fun working on a blanket again. I haven't done a blanket in so long, and so it's really fun to do a mindless project like that. It's been, just relaxing to sit in front of the TV and to do this and to use my magic balls. And all I do is just wind the different colors on until I feel I've wound enough and I'm ready to switch colors. Then I do a magic knot to tie the knot together. And then I just keep going until I get it the size that I feel will be easy enough to work with from a center pull. One other thing I thought I would mention, in case you do not have a ball winder, you can still do this without a ball winder. My friend Judy pointed out that she just takes a paper towel roll and cuts a little slit in the top of it so that you can put that yarn in through to make it center pull, and then wind it around the toilet paper roll. So even if you don't have a ball winder, you can still make a magic ball. And I would love to know, have you ever done this before? And for this, I am using acrylic yarns, but I'm sure you could use whatever kind of yarn you want. But I know with the seniors and a lot of the cancer organizations, a lot of the charity things I've done projects before, they do prefer acrylic because you can just throw them in the washer and dryer. And the easy care aspect of it makes it really appealing to them. So I really had a lot of fun and got to exercise my creativity by making these magic balls. Let me know if you have made them before and any tricks or tips that you have for making magic balls out of scraps. Well, this evening you can see I'm wearing my Shawlography shawl by Stephen West that was his mystery knit along in 2021. And so I finished this shawl. I absolutely loved it. That was my first mystery knit along of Stephen West. I had just found out who he was shortly before the mystery knit along started. So I was really happy to participate. It took me a lot longer than most people. I slowly went at it, and I think it took me almost that 2021 season and clear into 2022 before I finally finished it. But I was wearing this particular shawl on my very first podcast. So if you look back on that, you'll see me sitting outside on my porch wearing it and very proud of having finished it. Learned a lot of different techniques with this shawl and absolutely loved it. So in 2022, when the next mystery knit along rolled around, I was quite excited to intend to participate, and I bought some yarn from Simply Socks. I bought 4 skeins of yarn that year with the intent of doing the mystery knit along. And what happened though was my life got so busy that fall that I wasn't able to get started on time. There was a delay for me. And by the time I saw the first or second clue released, maybe even to the third, I was still contemplating, should I use this yarn I bought to make the shawl or should I not? And the more it unfolded, I just didn't feel like it was something that I wanted to jump in on the bandwagon. So I did not do the shawl at all in 2022. Then in 2023, I was quite excited for the Knit Along to Begin. That was the year of Geo Gradient. I was intending on doing it that year, and I did get it started. But if you remember, in fact, a couple of my friends were in on it with me. We all bought kits. And I ended up buying a lot of yarn that year. I couldn't decide on the colors I wanted to go with. And I bought a Stephen West kit, but I ended up going with a whole different thing, which was this yarn that I bought from my local yarn shop. But I just wasn't thrilled about the whole design. I did the square once, then ripped it out, restarted it again, and it just couldn't seem to move forward. I had no desire to finish it, so I just kind of put it away and forgot all about it. 2024, I did not do the Knit Along at all. I wasn't tempted, didn't buy any kits or anything. And that was the year of Go Go Dynamo. So this year, I wasn't intending on doing one, but I started getting the feeling that I wanted to do it. I was missing it. And I saw some other podcasters showing their yarns and talking about that they were going to be doing it because it's called MusiKAL. Music, K-A-L, Knit Along. And that just really appealed to me immediately since I love musicals. And the whole concept of music, knowing Stephen West is very talented in both music and dance, I decided I can't resist doing it this year. So I did decide, instead of ordering a new kit or buying more yarn when my finances are tight, I decided to go back to that 2022 kit that I had not used. And I picked 3 yarns out of it, and then I'm adding 2 more yarns that I ordered from Simply Socks. I'm going to see which of the 4, because it's a 4 skein project. So I'm going to I just have ordered the yarn, so I will be behind. I'm not going to be keeping up with everyone by any means. I'm going to first get the yarn, and I don't even think they've shipped it yet. So it'll be a while before I get the yarn and skein it up, and then, of course, wind it up. And then I will do a swatch and watch as it begins to roll out to see if this design appeals to me. If it does, I will go with the MusiKAL the way it is designed. And if it doesn't for some reason, I'm going to go to Slipstravaganza, which is one of his patterns I've long admired. And so I do want to use the yarn I've selected, and I'll be letting you more about it. Hopefully next time I will have more of a feel for exactly what I'm going to do. But right now it's a mystery to me as much as it is to you. Are you going to participate in the 2025 MusiKAL, or what are your thoughts? Tell me what you're going to be doing if a shawl is calling to you this year like it is to me. I have been doing several crocheted shawls over the past year or so, but I have not done a knitted shawl in quite some time. So I'm in the mood. It's going to soon be fall weather, and I'm going to be feeling the chill and wanting to work on another shawl. So I'm very, very excited to be doing one this year, and I look forward to sharing with you what I end up working on. I have been reading, and because, again, I got the Chihuahua, the little Ruby dog, I decided to search for a mystery series, a cozy mystery series featuring a Chihuahua. And so, lo and behold, I found one called Haunted Craft Fair Mystery Series by Rose Pressey, Pressey. I've read 2 of the series. There's only 4 in this little mini series so far. One of them is Murder Can Mess Up Your Masterpiece. And the second one I read was Murder Can Confuse Your Chihuahua. And the way that this is, what it's about is a lady named Celeste Cabot, who is an artist. And she's a painting artist. So she is going to be participating in a craft fair. Her dog is Van Gogh. She calls him Van, but he's a very cute little Chihuahua. He doesn't actually help her solve the mysteries. It's not one of those kind of mysteries where the cat or the dog helps solve it. It's just that he is a nice little sidekick for her and is featured in the story. She's very close to Van, her Chihuahua. So the story centers around a young woman who sells her paintings at local craft fairs. And while she's traveling to craft fairs, she lives in a, like an RV. And she goes to different craft fairs. She does her painting, and then she displays her paintings at the fairs and sells them there. But the problem is every time she goes to one of these fairs, a murder mystery happens. And so she is the one who ends up solving the mystery, like in many of these cozy mysteries. But what's interesting about this to me was there's always a ghost involved in each book. And secondly, because her art, as she's painting, there are hidden symbols and hidden hints to the mystery involved in her paintings. So she doesn't even know as she's painting them that she's putting them in there. But apparently as she's painting, she paints different clues and different little pictures within the picture. So it's kind of hard to explain, but the series is delightful. The character Celeste Cabot is Southern, and she has a Southern accent on the audio book. The lady reading it does a good job. The characters are delightful. She has a family who are kind of a cast of unique, quirky characters. And so I just really like the whole series. And I've only read 2, but I intend to read the other 2 as soon as possible. And then I also know that she has, if you like kind of a paranormally type theme, she includes them in all of her series. And she has another one I really want to go try to find. It's called Haunted Tour Guide Mystery Series, with a main character named Ripley Rip Van Raden. Or she goes by the name Rip. And she is a librarian by day and a haunted tour guide at night. So that series is also one I'm going to check into. Well, for now, I'm going to wrap things up. I thank you for joining me once again in episode 48 of Hanging by a Thin Thread. As I always say, love what you're making and wear what you make. See you next time, everyone.